Hello, another day, another recap. Um, Early January was also the time when I curtailed my television watching. I mean, I was a TV addict. I'd watch, like I said, uh, go to work and watch TV. That's basically all I did. And I decided, like, what shows that were doing more harm to me than good. And so the shows that really, I think, like glorify sex, glorify violence, etc., I curtailed out of my life. 24 and Supernatural being the two most that I've watched since the beginning, and I just decided I couldn't watch it anymore, which is kind of a shame because what I've been hearing is Supernatural had a good story, a very interesting storyline dealing with apocalyptic themes, but I can't really subject myself to that. Um, I also went to a dependable strengths workshop at my church, trying to find out what are the talents, what are the strengths that God gave you, and how to utilize that. And I believe that there are two types of people. Uh, People who are prideful, people who are cocky, who need God to humble them, and people who are like downcast, depressed, etc., who need God to build them up. I was in the second category, and this really, really helped me. I mean, you do discerning by like writing like your favorite moments in your life, and kind of like a life history, and it really puts you like, what are the strengths that God gave you? And I mean, I realized mine is creativity and empathy. And then I went home and I did some research and I found drama therapy and utilizing theater, improv, puppetry, role playing, etc., to help people with mental illness, with anxiety and depressive disorders. And all of a sudden, I read that and I had like a eureka moment. This is what I was put here on earth to do. And I mean, I wouldn't be back in school if it wasn't for church. I wouldn't be back in school if it wasn't for God. I mean, I wouldn't be off of porn if it wasn't for God. I wouldn't be going out more if it wasn't for God. I mean, if it wasn't for His grace and living by the teachings of my rabbi and king. And so I went back to school. I took some summer classes. And other than getting thrown off my bike on the way to school and almost being thrown under a bus and breaking my elbow, it went very, very well. I took race class gender, and English Comp 2. And I mean, race class gender got into some really interesting debates because I'm a moderate. I believe in personal responsibility. I do believe the liberals sometimes steer too much into victimhood and allowing bad behavior just because you're a minority. But I also believe that the way that things are situated is that if you are poor and black, you don't get the same chance if you are rich and white. And that's a systematic sin. I had to write a paper for my English Comp class. We were reading a book, which I'd recommend anyone reading, Adam Hochfield's King Leopold's Ghost, dealing with King Leopold and colonial Congo. And in a separate thing, I was still doing these blogs, and there was an article in USA Today about prayer and healing, and studies show that people of a more mainline Christian faith, of more believing in a loving God, a compassionate God, a forgiving God, are more likely to heal, and showing that the effects of prayer. But those who view a more vindictive, punishing, cruel God are less likely to heal because they believe that God gave them the illness as punishment. And in that, there was a quote by by Pat Robertson, talking about love and being nice to people. And I mean, he really went off. I'll find and post it here against the mainline denominations, and said, you don't make nice with the spirit of the Antichrist. I mean, love them, but you don't make nice. Basically calling Presbyterians, Methodists, the spirit of the Antichrist. And that really stuck in my craw. And so I did some research, and I found that his business dealings in Africa are very suspect. And I found a connection. The fiasco in Eric Morel, found who was a journalist who was working as a clerk, found that there was discrepancy in what should be on the ships going to Congo. Instead of barter, things to trade for ivory, etc., chains, weapons, etc. And on one of the Operation Blessings planes going into Zaire were mining equipment. And basically him, Jerry Falwell, etc., giving aid and comfort to vicious dictators, which I thought is not Christian. And so, like, doing this, I basically had an idea that there are three types of Christians. The ones who are actually trying to put new wine in old wine glasses, wineskins, who are basically greedy, corrupt, angry, lusty, violent sinners who are going out conquering, going out enslaving, going out doing wicked things, but under the cover of Christianity. Two are those that are not doing the evil things, who are not participating in the worldly evils, but are not speaking out against them either, and even dining with them, befriending them, maybe even giving them positive press, without saying what they're doing might be wrong and anti-biblical. And the third are those who are actually the shining light, those who actually go out in the tough areas, spread the gospel of forgiveness of sins, but also live the gospel of restoration. And I got an A on the paper, which I was obsessing about. I almost left the class because I didn't think. And I mean, it was kind of funny. I mean, talking to people about my faith, using this paper as an example to share my faith, was very, very interesting. Because, I mean, like I said, Madison is a very, very liberal city. And I don't know if I don't know if my paper helped lead anyone to the Lord, but I hopefully made them think. And so I truly believe that fundamentalism is this trying to put new wine in old wineskins. That fundamentalism is anything is okay as long as you're doing it for the right reasons. And that is not biblical. That is the way the world operates. That is the way the world does. But we're not supposed to be the friends of the world. We're not supposed to be friends of the way the world operates and the way the world works. And while no one can say that fundamentalists are, when it comes to media, sexual stuff like that, but when it comes to politics, when it comes to war, when it comes to business, they're just they are like the outside world. So that's the summer of 2009. God bless.